going on? What's going on, Coach Tariq? I hope all is well. Happy Thursday to you. Yeah, it's pretty late, but uh, just doing this live to see who is out there. If nobody hops on, then that's fine by me. I will talk for the next, I would say 9 minutes, just about tumbling. Um, the things I've experienced. My bad, kind of messed that up, but the things I've experienced as a coach, the things I've experienced as an athlete as well. So if you have a question, just drop it down below. Any questions, drop it down below. If you're just listening, then that's fine as well too. But your question can be something really basic. Forward rolls, backwards rolls, front walkovers, back walkovers. It can be intermediate, it can be advanced. Maybe working on tumbling pass. Maybe if you're dealing with I would say, mental block. I don't really call it a mental block. I call it more as maybe you're confused about a certain skill. Um, Dealing with a back handspring and it's hard for you to throw that skill. Dealing with a stand tuck and it's hard for you to land it every single time. Dealing with a round back handspring and you're afraid to throw the handspring. Um, dealing with probably throwing a standing two. So whatever you're dealing with, I would say just drop it down below. If you don't feel like sharing it and you would rather just send me a DM, then that's fine as well. But whatever works out for you, I'm just always here to help out the best way I can. Yeah, that's about it. Well, since there are no questions, um, I'm just gonna talk for the next 8 minutes. Um, Guess we can talk about today. I was dealing with a young athlete. Well, the first thing I'll talk about is the back handspring. Sorry. We'll talk about the back handspring. We'll talk about the full. So the first athlete I was dealing with today was the first athlete that I dealt with today was she was having I would say a minor mental block, minor roadblock with doing her back handspring. So once again, if you have any questions, drop it down below. If you're just here to listen, then that's fine as well too. Okay, so dealing with a minor setback. So what happened to this athlete was that she did a back handspring and kind of turned her wrist. And I believe that communication is a big key when you are throwing these skills on the floor. So first thing I did was, okay, well, okay, you got hurt doing your back handspring before. Um, I would say now would be it was a couple months, or I would say a couple weeks after. I think it was like a month later. And if you have any questions, drop it down below. If not, I'm just going to be talking about two athletes I dealt with today. First is the back handspring. Second one is the full. So, um, she was afraid of throwing the back handspring, and I'm always big on communication. So, first thing is, what exactly are we afraid of? And the second thing is, okay, if it's hard for you to throw the back handspring on the floor, then pick a surface that you believe you can do it on, and let's go from there. And believe it or not, I saw this athlete do a back handspring on a soft mat, and it was one of the beautifulest back handsprings I've seen in a while. Then I was like, okay, well, your back handspring is way too good to be thrown on a soft mat. Let's do it on the floor. And do it on the floor, and my hand was there, and then I put like a finger there, and she did one by herself, which is really big. And then once I pretty much took a couple steps back more, she kind of got back in her head. But I believe that even though she didn't consistently throw her backhand by herself, there was still growth within the athlete because she was able to throw it on the floor. Um, because before she didn't throw it all by herself, but she did throw one by herself. So that's really, really good. Now the athlete with the full kind of met her towards the end of the class. But for her, I would say that excuse me, for her, I would say that she was working on her full, and the biggest thing I told her was that whatever you do today, one is gonna feel comfortable. Two, um, as long as you give it your all, as long as you go as hard as possible, um, then you're good in my book. So the biggest thing about throwing fulls is that you want to make sure that your layout is solid. So what I mean by solid is you're making sure that before the layout, we're making sure that the round off, the handspring, that transition is really good. As you're coming out of your handspring, you're blocking off your hands and blocking your feet. So you make sure your feet are slightly behind as you're blocking off, coming off from the ground. We're making sure those things are like that transition and coming off the ground. We make sure those things are very, very good. And it makes sense. So once those things are good, you're then going towards layouts. In the layout, you're making sure that aside from having a straight body position, that we're making sure that our toes are getting up, keeping our arms nice and tight by our ears, and we're rounding our backs out. As we said, we're looking at two things. We're looking at their spot point, so we're keeping our eyes at neutral, and then as we come around, we're seeing our toes as we finish. Um, so as I'm telling this athlete all these things, I would say the biggest thing is to make sure that um, as you're blocking and as everything's looking nice and clean, and you're not just thinking about a straight body layout, but you're thinking about the set, you're thinking about keeping arms better, and then as you break, everything is making sense in your head because when you get to that full, the more you so if this is where you're starting and if this is where you're starting here and you're finishing over here for this full, then that means you're traveling way too much. And the more we travel for this full, the less time we'll have to set, less time we'll have to do our spin, and so on. So when you're working on fulls, you want to make sure that one, you have a nice solid layout. Two, you're blocking when you're coming off from the floor, when you're blocking, you're going more in a vertical line, going up and not so far back. Once again, when you're blocking coming out of your handspring, you're going more up and not so far back. Um, and I believe with that, you have more time to make your move up in the air, and you can finish the skill consistently on your feet. Uh, now, since this is my first time working as an athlete, um, things are not always going to go right, but there are going to be pieces that this athlete can use that she can take with her every time she's working on her full. The biggest things when you're starting to learn your full is knowing how your body works. I would say that knowing how your hips, knowing how you do your shoulders, um, knowing those things are, in my opinion, are a big, big key. But if you can hit that layout shape first, hit the layout, get the toes up, and shift the hips and the shoulders as you are making your move, it'll put you in a better position as you are attempting any full for the first time. But for this athlete, It was hard for her to use her hips and her shoulders, and also she was opening up. So just going over certain drills that made more sense for her. And we always, as coach, we always try to strive. Sorry, we always try to strive for getting that athlete the skill. But if they can take these things with them as they're learning the skill next time, then you've done your job. And that's pretty much it for me. We talked about the back handspring. We talked about doing some fulls. That's it for tonight. Late night talks about tumbling. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, have a nice night. Bye bye.